What's up, everyone, and welcome into the Buffalo Sports Collective. It is Monday, December 30th, final show of 2024. As always, I am PK alongside my co-host Phil for episode 322. Jam-packed show today. We got the Bandits victory. We got Banner Night to talk about. We got the Bills clinching the number 2 seed, just embarrassing the Jets. Sabres are on a 3-game winning streak. And, Phil, it is absolutely pouring here, and I found out that my basement has... It's like a sinking ship right now. There's like 4 or 5 holes in the foundation that are just leaking water. I've diverted one of them so the path of the water goes to the sump pump. I've found the springing leak in the other one, so tomorrow when I'm off work, I'm going to divert that one to the sump pump, and then I got to find ways to divert the other 2 to the sump pump. So there's at least 4 that I know about that is just... It's not damaging anything right now, but my basement is like, it's leaking. I'm a slowly sinking ship over here.
So, new house troubles already, at least unforeseen. The other house troubles you're going through aren't really troubles. The remodel, that stuff you knew about. Is this your very first unforeseen problem?
We knew there was always going to be water seeping into the basement just because it's an old house and the way the foundation is. The issue is there's actually a hole in the foundation that there's literally just a spew of water flowing out. There's one that's coming up from the ground that's just spewing up. It's just... We knew there was always, but I found them. So now it's just about diverting water straight to the sump pump so it's not always just puddles of water on the floor down there. It's just a temporary fix for now, but I got at least temporary fix. But yes, this is a first quote-unquote unforeseen problem that we knew was foreseen. It's just I wasn't expecting the snow to melt in one day and the very next day it's raining nonstop and I have lakes all around my house and it's just... There'll be permanent fixes in the spring when I'm able to buy plastic sheeting, attach it to the foundation, and slope it away from the house. That'll help. But for now, it's just all about like plugging the holes with corks until the nice weather approaches.
Well, congratulations on
Thank you. Yeah.
On your natural water springs and natural water features in your basement. A lot of people, want that for their houses. So you're lucky you got it.
Yeah,
I wish I had a fountain in my house.
The only issue is that the low spot where all the water is not at yet, but I'm trying to avoid that situation, is the furnace is in the lower spot. There's an upper, and then there's like a pool, and all the water's in the pool, but that's where the furnace is. So I got to keep the water in the deep end of the pool and away from the shallow end. Currently, there's a nice analogy for you, but you
can't swim, so
and I can't swim, so yeah, that definitely does help a tiny bit. I got to scroll all the way down to the notes because I forgot to put the intro part there. So follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Threads, and TikTok at Buffalo Sports Collective, and on X and Blue Sky at Buffalo Sports Co. If you work on a basement or know how to seal basements, give me shoot us a DM on any of those. Visit our website at buffalosportscollective.com. Check out our link tree on our socials or hit the shop tab, top of the website. Follow the channel wherever you listen to podcasts. And look for the time breakdowns in the description of the show. Phil, we did tease this on the last show. I did tease you right before the show started. I did rig something up for you. So we'll take a moment here. I know you already got your banner up, but we're going to raise the banners to the closet. Oh, no, it's not pulling.
The noise is great for those who are audio only. Doesn't sound terrible at all.
There you go. That's as far as it's gonna go.
I mean, that's how far I went in the game, so I appreciate it. I was thinking about it as I put it up. I was like, I don't know. I'm sure I could rig something, but I like it. I appreciate it, and I wish we had some music going during your banner raising, but I do appreciate the effort that was put in. For those who are audio only, PK did raise his banner, in his studio over there. So very well done. Very well done.
Go to YouTube. I was going to originally do it above the light that's above my head, but I couldn't figure out how to do that. I had a hook, but I didn't want to put it into the ceiling when I wasn't going to reuse the hook. And I was like, okay, I could just do it in the closet hook. But the issue is, the first time I did it, I did practice it, mind you. I did practice it. One loop around the pole wasn't enough. So I did a second loop around the pole, and I didn't practice it, and that's why it was so hard to pull that thing. But it's locked into place right now. It'll find its more permanent residence next show. But we talked about raising a banner. So we raised the mini banner. Phil, before we get into the game, we kind of went into further detail last year about the mini banners that they handed out. We were anticipating it being very similar this year, and they are. I can't find any fault in any of them. I think the way they handed them out was perfect, where you weren't getting people that, gathered their one or two and then ran away, handed it to their significant other or friends or whoever they were sitting with and went and got four more. They literally handed it right to everybody that went right through the gates. So if you didn't get one, tough cookies. Go on Amazon or eBay or wherever they're selling them for $40 and get them there. Maybe we'll auction one of ours off. I have no idea. Stay tuned. But yeah, I absolutely love the banner. Great quality. Love the details back to back on the bottom of it. There's little extra details than last year with the back to back, but absolutely love the details, the front and the back. Couldn't have done much better. Round of applause for the Buffalo Bandits organization. Very, very well done once again.
Yeah, no, I really I liked it, and like you said, I do like how they handed it out, because a lot of times, especially with a sold-out game, a lot of times people will, when they're handing them out at the top of the stairs, they just, I mean, it's not the employee's fault. They're doing what they're told to do. They're just kind of whipping them around. If you grab one, you grab one, and then, like you said, you can literally probably walk like 5 steps away, turn around, walk right back, grab another one, and keep doing that as many times as you want. Because they are, in those situations, not paying attention, which they shouldn't have to. It's not their job to pay attention to every single person. Remember, 18,000 faces plus 19,000 faces. So I do like that this time they were like facing forward. You get it at your entrance as you walk in, and that's it. No one else can really kind of circle back and get it. I'm sure somebody figured out how to do that, maybe. But it seemed like they did clamp down on that, which was nice, because if you bought a ticket and you want one, then you have the opportunity to get one. And a lot of people who do want extras have multiple people in their family or their friends who know enough people going. So there's ways to get an extra, and I'm sure at some point they might sell them at the store as well. We'll see. But I do like that distribution process, and I thought they were good quality again. I do like how big they are for mini banners. We discussed this last time about the other one, that it's not a super mini banner. It is a medium-sized mini banner. I do like what they did with it. And on that track, before we get into the game, I did also want to just ask you a few questions, because I was pleasantly surprised. So your thoughts on I know we had both seen the scoreboard beforehand. You went to a Sabres game. I went to the Letterkenny versus Sabres alumni game. So we had both seen it, but what did you think of their presentation during a Bandits game using the new Jumbotron?
This was my first time in the 100 levels of the actual scoreboard, though. My only complaint with the scoreboard, and it has nothing to do with the presentation, and I said it right off the get-go, the mini screens that are on the bottoms, I love the idea of them, but the engineering of it, or the design of it, is flawed, because there's speakers that are coming out the corners, and if you're sitting where I'm sitting in 115, the speaker blocks perfectly the TV. You just can't see the TV. It's irrelevant. For a scoreboard that big and the investment they did, it seems like it was a major oversight for them. It's just, with a completely 360 giant Jumbotron, and then you got screens underneath it, how is there that big of an oversight that there's speakers that are completely blocking? And I understand that the TVs there are not really designed for the people in the corners. Get that. But, when you're spending that amount of money, shouldn't you better rig up the speakers so if if there's a line of sight, it shouldn't be blocked. That's just my biggest complaint. But the presentation for the Buffalo Bandits, I absolutely loved it. I know producer Pat was sitting next to me, and he goes, the Jumbotron's just so big, sometimes I'm forgetting to actually look on the field. I'm the opposite. I kept forgetting to look up at the scoreboard just because the play is literally right in front of us. But everything that I saw, I love the presentation. I did notice that what's up on the main Jumbotron at times is different than what's being shown on the screen, the TV itself. They sometimes show different things on that. So I do think, and I am excited to see what else is in store that the Buffalo Bandits are able to do game presentation wise with the 360 new and enhanced scoreboard that's in HD, although the ball did hit it and somebody's going to have to go up there and fix the smudge.
Yeah, no, I really liked the quality when my brother and I just kept saying it's so big. When they first did the player announcements, you see how big the players are when they're like full screen up on there.
That was an added touch
crazy.
too. All the players up there with the moving pictures. That was a nice touch as well.
I thought that was good. They looked really good quality. I liked the box chant being up there. I thought that was nice. I liked the Let's Go Bandits being up there because a lot of times in the arena, different people or different areas of the arena will start the Let's Go Bandits chant. It's always off. Like one side's doing it a little bit quicker than the other side. So it's nice to have a graphic, try to link everybody up a little bit. I thought the scoreboard on there looked really nice, like during the game, and the power play time left was really easy to find and really clear, which was nice. Like sometimes you're really searching how much time is left in a power play or a penalty kill, and I think they made it really easy to find. So overall, I thought the Jumbotron was really, really nice looking, and I thought they did a good job adding new elements to it, not just the same exact graphics they had for the old one kind of being recycled. I think they did a good job infusing some new ones to go with the new Jumbotron. And the other big thing I noticed, which I wanted to bring up, was the snacks, like the popcorn bucket being Bandits, I think it's the foot-long nachos having a Bandits boat instead of all of it just being recycled Sabres gear. It was really nice to see them putting more effort into making it a truly Bandits first experience, not just we're a Sabres arena that happens to host the Bandits. It felt much more inclusive of, we understand the Bandits are also really good. They're a part of this organization. They're a part of this arena, and they're going a little more out of their way to make them feel a part of it. Like, it's such a simple, kind of dumb little thing to have. I think one of our friends mentioned that even like the little insert piece of paper under their chicken fingers was also Bandits. Like, it seems dumb, but that's so much nicer than seeing a Buffalo Sabres logo during a Bandits game when you're trying to enjoy and be part of the Bandits and you get all this kind of recycled Sabre stuff. I understand it's cheaper that way for the organization to just use what they already have, but it's really nice that they're finally including more Bandits, small things like that to make the presentation and the event seem that much more inclusive. Just be like, you're there for the Bandits. You're not there for, Sabres, but the Bandits happen to be playing there. I thought that was really nice, and hopefully they keep going with that kind of stuff because, again, it seems very small, but it helps a lot make you feel like this isn't just a second-rate kind of production. It makes it just feel like this is the main event that's happening right now, and that's how you should feel when you go to a Bandits game.
Yeah, I agree with that. They also had the glass pane windows with the Bandit stuff as well up there as well. It seems like the arena, as they're doing more and more sorry, I had something with her. As they're doing more and more upgrades to it, the Buffalo Bandits are being included more and more, which about time. But right. I am happy that it is progressing that way. The attention to detail that we always say, the NLL lacks, like the on X, their highlight package for that game didn't include a single one of the 13 Buffalo Bandits goals. It's the lack of details and the lack of awareness that the NLL lacks. The Buffalo Bandits and the Buffalo Bandits organization are slowly coming around to adding more of that flavor to the arena, where it's just not, like you said, I think you said it perfectly. It's not the home of the Buffalo Sabres that also shares and lets Buffalo Bandits play in it. They're co-joining tenants in that arena. So I do agree with you. I think all the small details go a long way. And I think that's one nice thing. And I think the more people comment on it and post about it and pay attention to those kind of things, the more and more that will happen as we move forward. But let's dive into the game. 13-6 victory. Buffalo's defense continues to just shut the offenses of the opposing teams down, and their offense just continues to light it up. Knighthawks, 3 goals. None of them were human. McKay, Byrne, Scanlon, and Smith, 2 each. Bucky and Frazier, 1 each. Vince, career high. Organizational high, 62 saves. Sorry, not good enough for the BSC MVP because you won it 3 weeks ago. We had to give it to Scanlon. Shots, 68-58 in favor of Rochester. Faceoffs, 15-8 in favor of Buffalo. Power play, 2-6, or 2-4-6, I should say, for Buffalo. Rochester, 2-for-5. Phil, let's dive into the offense first. 2-0 after the first, 7-3 at half, 11-4 after 3. Final 13-6. How did you think the offense did in this one? Are there any key points you want to start with this segment of how the offense did versus Rochester's defense and Hutchcraft and net?
Early on, I thought Hutchcraft actually looked really good again. He made a lot of really big saves. The biggest issue I had with the offense, they had a ton of chances, and they were really, really nice setups. Their finishing just seemed off in this one. I know hard to nitpick a 13-goal performance. That's really good, but they had multiple transition breakaways they didn't bury. They had multiple just flawless setups where I think Fraser had a couple of them where he's just sitting wide open on the other side and either missed the shot, missed the pass, or just completely missed the net, and he honestly had a decent game. So there was a few different situations. Even on the power play, they had 1 or 2 where it was just wide open, empty net, and they would either miss the shot, miss the pass, like something was just a little bit off. And obviously, you're nitpicking a 13-goal performance, but I thought they could have had a lot more. I'll put it that way. I think their offense looked really, really crisp. The passing was amazing. The selflessness was really nice to see across the board. I thought everyone looked solid. It was just the finishing could have been better. There were a lot of times where Hutchcraft stood there and did nothing, and that honestly is a really good way to play NLL goalie, as you know, with Ward, your favorite goaltender, where they just, if the less you react as a goalie in the NLL, it seems like the better, because they do 9,000 fakes, and the less you react, the more likely you are to save it. So a lot of the breakaways, Hutchcraft just kind of stood his ground, and the Bandits would just throw it right at him. It's those situations where in a closer game, those are going to be critical, and we're going to be more critical of those situations. In a game where you won 13-6, you don't really have to worry about it, but moving forward, those finishes are going to become more important in a closer game. This one, not so much. Overall, honestly, loved the offense. I thought what they did was great. Power play still needs to turn it up a bit, but again, I thought they had a lot of really good chances. It just, the finishing seemed a little bit off at times.
Yeah, even with the power play, one of them kind of they were probably 2-for-5 because the 6th power play was at the end of the game where it doesn't really matter. They were just trying to kill the clock. So you can kind of wipe that one out. But Nanacook, 3 points, 3 goals, 6 shots, caused turnover, 6 loose balls. McKay, 2 goals, 13 shots, dude. Like, this is he loves taking shots versus Rochester. 3 loose balls. Byrne, 2, 9, and 11, 11-point game. Just led all scorers in that department. 8 shots, 4 loose balls, 1 caused turnovers. Scanlon, I really liked his game in this one, and it's another reason why we gave him BSC MVP, not just because his first 2 NLL goals, but because of the position he had to step into. He kind of took over the Chris Cloutier role. I noticed him a lot more playing that lefty forward than I even did McKay. And McKay, not a shot at McKay. I mean, 13 shots, he was very involved in the offense. But it seemed like Scanlon played more of the Klutch role than they did have McKay play the Klutch role. It seemed like, okay, Klutch is out. Let's just put Scanlon in that role rather than change 2 players' games. I really like the decision. 2, 1, and 3. 4 shots on goal. I really like his shot as well. It's very quick. Bucky 1, 3, and 4 behind the back goal. Unbelievable. It's going to be on SportsCenter all the plays. 4 shots on net, 3 loose balls. Finally got us over the 1,000 mark. Smith 2, 6, and 8. 7 shots on net, 10 loose balls, 2 caused turnovers. He was an animal out there. Frazier, very quiet in this one, but he was noticeable, if that makes sense. And he's been more on the quieter side this season, and I think even last game he was 2, 4, and 6. But it seems like he's making more of an effort in the picks department and trying to gather those loose balls. He seems like he's doing a lot of the stuff that doesn't make the box score, similar to what Nanticoke has done his entire career, where he makes those flashy goals. He gets on the stat sheet, but he's not getting points and points and points all over the place. He's doing a lot of the dirty work. But, we can run through the goals. The first one, Frazier, nice pick. Smith beats Hutch. Like I just said, Frazier setting the pick. Smith gets inside. 22 seconds in. Yeah.
Leave from that goal. Let me find it. So the Bandits, that goal happened 22 seconds into the game. And then the Bandits held the lead the entire time. So they had a lead for 59 minutes and 38 seconds.
Pretty good.
That has to, I don't know if it's a record, but that's got to be really close to a record for longest lead in a game. The only time it was tied was 22 seconds into the game. That was it. The rest was the Bandits. That's filthy. Insane.
And to go on to that one, I think him scoring on that first possession was so big because it let everybody settle in and calm down. It's not like they were looking for the goals nonstop and then their emotions from the banner raising ceremony kind of took over. It was able to settle everybody down. He cashed in that early and then it just got back into the game. Byrne far side over the shoulder. Scanlon kind of looked lost in the middle, but he ducked at the right perfect time. I don't think it would have hit him in the head, but it was a great shot. McKay pick and pop with Byrne, quick release, and it's in. The face-off right after that gets up to Bucky, crafty little underhand lob over to Byrne.
It looked like Josh Allen flipping that ball. That was impressive.
It was beautiful. It was right to him. Smith was diving through, jumping through the crease. Byrne just beats Hutchcraft. Then back-to-back fakes and rolls by Bucky. He loves those fake picks and then just rolls behind, and that's the behind-the-back shot that just beat Hutch.
This year.
Yeah, Hutchcraft gets pulled after that. Nanticoke, this one was unbelievable. He tests Earlman early. Gets his own rebound off the backboard, steaks 3 times. The defenders, for whatever reason, either didn't know Nanticoke had the ball or just weren't putting in any effort because it was unbelievable. He cashes in. Power play number 7, drew up for Scanlon. Loved it. Offside pick by Nanticoke to get him open. Smith over top. Gets Scanlon wide open inside. Just cashes it in. Low shot. We move over to the second half. Number 8, great passing on the power play. Ends with McKay behind the goal, dunking it. Beautiful goal. They reviewed it. I'll talk about that in a second. But Frazier, second one of the second possession on the penalty kill. He cuts in the middle and just hammers it home. He's still got that lethal shot. The 10th one, Nanticoke is just not human. He spins on the goal line, face is covered. He dunks that one. Number 11, great passing again right before the end of the third. Bucky, quick stick, feed over to Scanlon, who squeaks it through barely with 0.1 left on the clock. Yeah, just a great positioning by Scanlon on this one. I'm not trying to talk him up, but he had a really, really solid game. Dane from the top of the key, bouncer, 12-5. It was a great play creating a wall for Smith. It was a great play design. And then the last one, Nanticoke again, dunk goal. Guys I think out of all of his 3 goals, the distance that he scored from was a combined 9 inches. He's filthy around the top of the key. It's just, he's filthy when the ball's in his stick and he's anywhere close to the goalie. It's just, he's not human. He's not human with the ball in his stick. We've said it for 3 or 4 years now. When the ball is in his stick, you literally can't get it out. There's no way to get that ball out of his stick.
Yeah, my brother has his jersey, and there are multiple times a game he just says, I don't know how he does it. And I don't know either. He just scoops up loose balls and balls off the wall out of nowhere, then cuts through 3 guys and still has it. The one where he was literally dragging 2 guys through the crease as he tried with all of his effort to flip them and the ball into the net, even though he ended up crashing down. It's insane. 2 other things on the offense. One, Scanlon, going back to him, we talked about it last episode that it's very difficult to crack into this offense. They have played together for a very long time, so it takes a little bit of time for a new face to try to become integrated and, again, not feel scared to have the ball when you're playing with such elite players all around you. I think he just looked more comfortable in this game. You already mentioned the one time where he was out of position. Him and Byrne just kind of looked at each other for a moment, wasn't really sure what was going on. Those are going to happen when, again, all these players play off each other, and eyes in the back of the head kind of situation. They all know where each other are throughout the entire offensive possession. They know where they're headed. They know where their head's at. Scanlon just has to slowly pick up on those keys. It's going to take some time for him to actually settle into this offense. And I thought in already game, his second game in, he already looked more comfortable in this game with that offense. And I think that's big for him. And even getting those goals, his first 2 goals of his career, I think is big. So I think as the season progresses, his confidence increases, not just as a player, but a player on this team as a part of this offense. I think he's only going to get better throughout the season. And the other big thing for me right now with the offense and how they're working, you go down the list of their top 6 scorers. You have 8 goals, 7 goals, 6, 6, 6, 5, and then 3, 2. So nobody right now on this team is really exploding. They are all working together very evenly to distribute the ball, and you just don't know who's going to have that big game that night, who's going to score all the goals. Like, from a defensive perspective, seeing that they have this many players scoring at this consistent of a rate, you don't have just a Connor Fields to lock in on and make sure he doesn't score. Like, anyone right now in this offense can drop 3 to 5 goals on you in a night, and you don't know which one's going to do it. And if one of them is struggling, someone else on the team will pick it up. So right now their offense, with how not only just the goals they're scoring, but with how spread out it is, it's very tough for a defense to cover literally 5 guys every single time they're out there.
Yeah, and the only other thing I got on the offense, and then we can kind of shift to the defense, is the amount of second opportunities that this team got in this one, whether it be causing the turnovers or, working their butts along the boards, getting those loose balls, especially on the penalty kill. There were a handful of times, 2 or 3 opportunities where Rochester had the ball and Buffalo was able to pick it clean. I remember the Dane Smith one. I think it was that one resulted in the Frazier goal, I believe. It's just they were so relenting on offense in this one. Like you mentioned right off the start for the offense, they were getting their chances and then just not cashing in. So to talk about a possible negative, the 13 could have been so much worse if they were able to finish it. And the only negative I really even have is they had a very sloppy start to the second half. There were drop passes, there were missed opportunities. It didn't negatively affect them whatsoever. But when that's your biggest negative, is that you had a sloppy second half to start the second half on like a couple shifts, your offense pretty much played perfectly. But a shift over to the defense here, everybody is contributing once again. Whitty 1 assist, but he had 5 loose balls and a block shot. Cam Wires 2 block shots, 1 caused turnover. Paul Dawson 5 block shots in this one, catches back up to the leaders. He was a bit quiet to start the season. 5 block shots and a caused turnover. Dylan Robinson had a block shot. Nick Weiss, once again, is making a name for himself as a possible transition player of the year type of player this early into the season. Again, 3 games in, but he's putting up the numbers. 1 assist, 9 loose balls, a block shot, and a caused turnover. Justin Martin, the quiet, savvy veteran back there that does not put up the numbers, but he's going to lock down your best players. 1 caused turnover. Priolo, 9 loose balls, 2 caused turnovers. Spanger, caused turnover. Farrell, 10 loose balls. Belter, 2 loose balls. Every defender was involved in some way, but I want to give a special shout out. I already give him a little bit of shout out, but the work that Nick Weiss did on Connor Fields in these 2 games versus Rochester cannot be overstated. I know we already kind of went over Connor Fields having a struggle of a season, especially shooting the ball, but the work that Nick Weiss, especially Nick Weiss, I noticed him on Connor Fields the majority of the game. The work he did the first 2 games versus Rochester, and I guess the only 2 games that they're going to face versus Rochester in the regular season, he locked Connor Fields down and did not let him get the opportunities. The 2 times that he really scored, one he shot around Nick Weiss, and the second one Connor Fields was sliding down and kind of underhanded it on his offside that I really think Matt Vince should have had. And I'm not criticizing Matt Vince, don't hear what I'm not saying, but those were really the only 2 times that Connor Fields beat Nick Weiss in this one, and that's a testament to studying the game film and studying what type of player and what type of season Nick Weiss is already having.
Yeah, I mean, we'll go over Vince. It's hard not to when you talk about the defense at the same time. So I'm going to pull them both together. But when you look at the game just by a stats perspective, you look at the defense, 68 shots against is not good. That is a lot. That's a lot of shots. But at the same time, this is what Vince wants. And I know Vince had to come up with a lot of big saves. He had some ridiculous kick saves, again, looking like he's 19 years old. Like his kick saves to that left low side that he had 6, 7, 8 times in the game that he makes look so easy on really hard shots. But this is what Vince wants. He does not want them getting inside, in his face, those quick shots, the 17 fakes that we talk about. That's not any goalie in the NLL strength. That's not what they're good at. It's very difficult to stop those kind of plays. And that's what the defense is doing a really nice job of. Again, 68 shots sounds like a lot, and it is a lot. And don't keep that up season long, because that will wear down Vince by the time you get to playoffs, especially at the end of the season when they're playing double weekends and no buys. But for right now, that's the kind of game that Vince likes to see. He likes those outside shots. He likes shots that he can see. So yes, on paper, 68 shots looks like the defense might have had an off game, but I think this is the kind of style of defense they want to play, and this is the kind of defense that Vince wants in front of him, just forcing those outside, low probability shots that he has the correct angle, he has the right position for, that he can make those saves on and only allow 6 goals, which is just ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, you had Evans, who was scoreless. Lanchbury had 4 assists. Knight 2, 1, and 3 on 5 shots. Connor Fields 2, 3, and 5 on 13 shots, 12 loose balls. McConvey, I already mentioned we got to get his shot total up. He did, but he didn't cash in. 1, 1, and 2 on 13 shots. Waters 1 assist. Smith 1, 2, and 3 on 14 shots. So to combine all these, they allowed in the 2 games versus Rochester, they allowed 13 goals. Evans was 1, 2, and 3 on 6 shots. Lanchbury 2, 6, and 8 on 18 shots. Knight 2, 2, and 4 on 12 shots. Connor Fields 4 goals. I got the assist wrong. So 4 goals. No, I apologize. I don't have his assist right. I'll have to look that up. But 29 shots on net, I believe, is how many shots he had on net in between the 2 games. And he cashed in, I believe it was 4 goals, Phil. I know you're double checking. He went 2, 3, and 5 in this one. What did he have in game 1?
Give me a second.
Still looking through, but I'll do Thomas McConvey first. 2, 3, and 5 on 15 shots.
2 goals, 0 assists.
Okay, so we went 4, 3, and 7 in those 2 games with 29 shots on net, 24 loose balls, just absolutely filthy. McConvey 2, 3, and 5, 15 shots on net. Waters 1 assist. Smith 1 goal on 23 shots. That's what we're talking about, where Rochester going into the season, we really, really love their offense. And I think a lot of people in the industry love their offense. But when they're shooting the way they're shooting, and Phil kind of summed it up, they're giving Matt Vince the shots he wants to see the majority of the time. That's why if you're seeing the shot total as high as it is, you have to see what quality of shots it is, and they're not letting him in close. And even talking about the Paul Dawson 1 penalty where he just dove on Connor Fields' ribs. That to me was more of like a message sending penalty, where it's like, hey, if you're gonna come into the crease, this is the punishment you're going to do. And that was early on, if I remember correctly. That was in the second quarter. That was a message sent that, hey, if you're coming in here all game, this is the punishment that you're going to have to take. So, yes, they scored. Rochester ended up scoring on that power play. But I think in the long term, how many more times did you see people get in on Matt Vince? It was very rarely, and it's been very rarely all season. The defense is giving Matt Vince the shots he wants to see, and they're all from the outside. And I think the defense, it's hard to knock very many pieces of in this game and in season total. I mean, they're just playing electric. We went into saying that their defense might be better than they were last year. I think they're proving it that when they're healthy, they're one of, if not the best defense in the entire league.
Yeah, there's not really much else to say about the defense or Vince. Vince, again, making the huge saves when he does need to come through with those big saves. He is making them, and right now, a ridiculous through 3 games, 88.2 save percentage, which is just
average.
Yeah, I guess average, and 6.85 goals against through 3.
When are they going to give Orleman some time back there? Because when Matt Vince retires, we need to know the goalie of the future.
There's
none of that talk right now there, Phil. There's zero of that talk.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I did call in my bold predictions that he might be goaltender of the year. These are literally record-breaking numbers. There's no way I'm going to challenge him right now. There's no way you keep these numbers up through 17 games. Even through 3 games, they are insane. Even for 1 game, these are insane numbers. I could see it for 1 game every once in a while, having a 6 goals against, 88 save percentage, but through 3 games to have sub 7 goals against and 88 save percentages. It's ridiculous what he's doing right now. He looks amazing. In this game, he looked, again, those kick saves, the big saves. I don't know. He somehow has found the fountain of youth, and it would be nice if he shared some of it. But for now, he can keep all of it as long as he's going to keep playing like this. He's just incredible. There's really, his stats in this game with the franchise record and even his career best saves in a game pretty much say it all.
Yeah, I mean, there's not much more to say. It's just, I even allowing 6, I think there was 2 he probably wants back. I think it's the Fields slip one. I think he wants that
defense,
one back.
Like shorthanded, letting Fields get to that position, and then just him shoveling it in was sad.
And then the night shot, the number 6 one, right from the top of the key. I think he wants that one back as well.
Great.
And so, I mean, looking at it, two goals out of the 6 he wants back, and 2 of them came on the power play where he really didn't have much of a chance. He kind of lost the one pass to Knight on the power play. He just didn't know it even got passed over to Knight. That was one of the very, very few times you'll ever see Matt Vince not know where the ball was. But yeah, I mean, the defense, going back to that one really quick, the only 2 things that I really didn't like was the missed shots on net. Dylan Robinson had 2 opportunities on an empty net, missed those both, and then Spanger in transition one time just completely misses the net. And then the only other negative I didn't like, which we don't really have to worry about now because Rochester's sitting at 1-4, so the only chance that Buffalo's going to face Rochester is probably in the playoffs. I did not like Paul Dawson covering Connor Fields in this one whatsoever. They kind of went away from it after the first quarter, which I liked. They kind of were forcing him to the Paul Dawson to the other side to play defense, but the switches between him and Weiss, Connor Fields was just one step too quick for Paul Dawson. It just seemed like it was either age or it was a bad matchup, and I do like the adjustment that they made in the second quarter. They kind of went back to in the second half when the score was kind of more safe, but I did not like the whole first quarter seeing Paul Dawson out on Connor Fields. Didn't burn them, but it did not look pretty at times. And then talking about Matt Vince, the big 2-on-1 save midway through the first on Gilray. Great outlet passes. He's looking like frickin' Christian Del Bianco out there with some of his great passes out there. Great back-to-back saves early second. Dawson loses his man, and Vince is there to make the save. Lanchbury gets the rebound. Vince is there again. Another back-to-back save with 9:30 in the second. Great job going post to post on the penalty kill with 10 minutes left in the fourth. Insane saves on the penalty kill between the 8 and 10 minute mark in the fourth quarter. And it's good to see Vince stay in, and we can kind of transition to this and the miscellaneous stuff real quick before we kind of wrap up this one. But the hit he took to the face, it seemed more like it was his back, where his back got bent over the post. It's nice to see him stay in there, but when you're playing in games, and this has happened to me, whether it's be co-ed soccer, and I know it's on a much smaller level, but when you get hurt during the game, your adrenaline's rushing so much that it's not hurting then. I'm just hoping, and I said this in my seat, I went, great, now we're going to have to worry for the next 2 weeks is Matt Vince going to show up on the injury report. But it's going to be a nerve-wracking 2 weeks to see how his back is because, again, he's 42 years old. A hit like that is going to affect different age groups differently. And I know he stayed in the game, and that's good and all. But, again, adrenaline is rushing. And with them having a bye, it's a plus and a negative. It's a plus that he has time to rest that back and the head or whatever the issue was. It seemed like it was back. But it's just going to be nerve-wracking for all of Banditland to not know what his status is for 2 weeks now because it's a little concerning for a 42-year-old stud of your team and somebody that you cannot lose if you want to go on a run to get hit like that. I don't even think it was dirty. I'm not even saying it was a dirty hit whatsoever. He was going for the shot. Yes, he went too high on him. I'm not saying that was a dirty hit whatsoever. Even Tutton stayed afterwards, not just through the line, but after he did it to check on Matt Vince, who's down in the crease. So I'm not saying it was a dirty hit at all. I'm just saying I'm a little worried for the next 2 weeks of the unknown is what I'm worried about, Phil.
I am happy that he did get the goaltender interference call because it was goaltender interference, and I was worried they weren't going to call it. I was like, all right, the Bandits have done a lot less and gotten the same call. You just hit him in the face with your stick. I understand, like you said, I don't think it was on purpose. I don't think it was dirty, but you did hit him in the face. There better be at least the penalty. But the other thing with that, I don't know. At a game like that, I was happy he stayed in for his health, but at the same time, like at that point in the game, pull him. I don't know why they didn't pull him. And then when the Bandits so there's 26 seconds left, I believe. The Bandits had the ball because of the power play ended up going in their favor. And whoever it was shot the ball like 5 seconds into the, just sit on it for 26 seconds. I could not believe that they took that shot after Vince just went down for how long he went down for and is possibly injured.
My only thought, and for both of these situations, why he wasn't pulled and why McKay took that shot so early, was if they knew the record was in grasp, they might have been trying to get him the franchise record of saves and a personal best of saves. I personally don't think it's worth it. I don't think he should have been in there.
I would hope a championship would be more important.
Yeah, I don't think the last TV timeout, I probably should have been pulled. But to me, that's my only thought about their thought process with both the shot and leaving him in after the hit and leaving him in that long, is they wanted to get him that record.
I mean, that's the only reason I can think of.
You're
and
right.
Knowing how smart someone like McKay is, I can't imagine. When he took that shot, I was like, what are you doing? Just end the game. But if that's the case, then I'm still not happy about it, because I'd rather them worry about a championship than an individual game record, not even like an all-time. But I'll try to let it slide. But it was scary to see, and like you said, hopefully he's okay. Luckily, he does have that week off. But in a game like that, when you have so many saves, the adrenaline probably is flowing. So hopefully the younger guys can get him into one of their cryo chambers or whatever the heck they do for their rehab, and work that back out in the off week.
Yeah, just a couple more things here real quick. 9-2 in the second half on faceoff draws for Connor Farrell. It was 6-6 at half.
Once again, second half looks great.
Yeah, well done. Penalties, I didn't really have an issue with any of them. I still have to find the Buchanan goaltender interference one. He was saying that the goalie didn't have possession of the ball, which
I don't think he did.
I tried to look it up and I couldn't find anything. I'm going to keep looking to find out why that was even called goaltender interference. If it was in his stick, I understand that, but it was under his stick. Like, he was trying to gather it. And from everything I saw, it's if the ball is in the goalie's stick and he's in the crease is what I'm finding.
Buchanan's a very quiet player. For him to be that adamant.
Right.
And he's someone who's always around that crease.
Exactly.
And he knows exactly when to go for it and when not to. And from what I could see watching it live, the ball looked like it was just sitting there.
Right.
And it looked like the goalie might have been going for it, but that does not mean he has control of it at that point. I still have to go back and look at all the penalties for the article. So I will go back and find that as well. But from what I watched live, it didn't look like it should have been a penalty.
Yeah, I'm going to let you worry about that one. Then the only other thing, and then we can we're already 40 some odd minutes into talking about this game. The last one, and I've complained about this multiple times, there needs to be a time limit on reviewing goals. It's getting absolutely ridiculous that not even just in this game, but in general in the NLL, it shouldn't be taking 5 to 10 minutes to review a goal. If it's not there, just move past it. And I understand a lot of it is not on the referees. A lot of it is the different camera angles in the arenas. That there's not the same amount of cameras in the arenas. There's not the same looks in each arena. And that's the number one thing that they need to fix first, is the camera angles in each arena. There needs to be similar camera angles for these referees to be able to review these calls. But if it's taken 5 to 10 minutes to review the goals, what are you looking for to try to overturn this thing or to try to make the goal stand? Like, that's my biggest gripe, is it's taking too long and it's taking the momentum and the fun out of the game. Like the McKay goal, the second time I saw it, it's a good goal. Like, his foot levitates in midair and then he goes down on the same foot that he just picked up with. It was a good goal. You saw it on the Jumbotron. What are they looking for? Like, that's the one thing that I can't understand, is why it takes so long. That if there's different camera angles that they're seeing that we're not seeing, and there are, I get that, but it's just, it takes way too long sometimes, and then they just go inconclusive evidence. Then what were you doing for the last 5 to 10 minutes? Like, that there needs to be either updating all the rules for the camera angles in the arenas, that everybody has the same type of camera angle. And I understand each arena is different and there's different ways that you can even hang the equipment. I get that. But there needs to be some set of rules and a time limit on this, because it's getting ridiculous across the entire league, not just in this game, but across the entirety of the league. It's taking way too long. 3 to 4 minutes tops. If you need more than that, let the call on the field stand. It's absolutely ridiculous to me.
I have nothing to add because I agree. You should have just a 2-minute figure it out. If you don't figure it out in that time, call stands because you couldn't overturn it, which is what you're going to go to anyway, which is inconclusive, which is the number one call they love to make. So
yeah,
2 minutes, figure it out. If you don't have the evidence, move on.
Or send it to a headquarters in Toronto or something and let them review it as they're talking to the refs. By the time you get to the box, they've already reviewed it. Boom, done, over, be gone. But what is not being gone is we'll go over our first sponsor of the show before we dive into the milestones and around the league. Tap That Tap Room.
Tap That Tap Room at 363 Delaware Street in Tonawanda, New York is Buffalo's first women-owned self-pour bar featuring 30 consistently rotating taps offering a variety of beers, ciders, sours, seltzers, and malt beverages.
So whether you like an IPA, like the Fiddlerhead IPA from Fiddlehead Brewing Company, a dark ale like the Dark Arts from Thin Man Brewery, an OG like Labatt Blue, or if you like ciders like I do, like Hamburg Cider Pomegranate, they have 30 rotating options for you. They're going to have something that you like. On deck, we got the Peach Ring Sour Ale from Community Beer Works and a Voodoo Ranger 1985 Mango IPA from Belgian Brewing Company. What I absolutely love about Tap That Tap Room, they let you know on their website what is on tap, but they especially let you know what's on deck. For whatever reason, if you don't like the 30 that is currently on tap and you see one on deck, you can get ready and plan your week ahead by knowing, okay, this is going to be on deck. Let's see when it's on deck. Boom. Head right over to Tap That Tap Room. So to find out, all right, actually, Tap That Tap Room has something for everyone, Phil. That is something I'm going to try to say every single time I read these sponsor reads.
New tagline.
Boom, TM. You got to pay me extra stuff for if you try to use that Tap That Tap Room. I'll come after you. Check out their Facebook page for all their posted events and check out what's on tap and what's on deck at tapthattaproom.com. Phil? A lot of milestones happen. A lot of things I don't have to read anymore. Paul Dawson is tied with Mike Poulin for 8th in NLL history in games played with 269. Steve Priolo passed Brody Merrill for 3rd place in NLL history because he had 2 caused turnovers. Josh Byrne had 9 assists, so he's well over 300 for his career. Kyle Buchanan got exactly 3. Thank you, Kyle. He's got 1,000 loose balls for his career. Josh Byrne had 2 goals, so he's now tied with Micah Kersey for 4th place in Buffalo Bandits history. And Chase Frazier got exactly 1 goal, so he is tied with Darius Kilgore for 7th in Buffalo Bandits history. The only 2 milestones that did not happen were from Chris Cloutier, who did not play. Boom, cashed it off. Less to read on the next show, maybe depending on how these and what everybody else did with this.
I'll say, but now your problem is now Josh Byrne is 1 goal away from passing.
Yeah, now I got that, and I got Chase Frazier 1 goal away from passing. And yeah, but less to read. Steve and Kyle, you listen to the milestones. Salute to both of you. Thank you very much.
It was nice to see. I don't know if you noticed, Chris came out at the very end of the game when they were doing the go around. It looked like, again, from our seats on the opposite side, at least he's walking, had a hat on. He didn't look like he was in a brace or, crutches or anything. So who knows what his injury is. Hopefully the week off. And that might be one of the reasons. They might just be playing it very careful with a player like that, just making sure he's fully healthy, get through this game. You got a week off, come back. That's a 2-week break for him. That's huge. So hopefully it's nothing major. We don't have any information on what the injury is, but good to see him just
asking. They'll never tell you.
Yeah, no, they don't. No one in the NLL tells much about injuries. But it was good to see him walking around at the end of the game, giving high fives, hugs, good win. Good to see he was there and walking and up and around.
Yeah, we'll try to fly through this NLL outlook because we're already 50 minutes in.
Yeah, we're going to fly through the rest.
And Sabres. We'll try to fly through the rest of this episode. 1-2 Albany. They're 1-3 now, along with Halifax is 1-3 after Halifax winning 13-9. Halifax 10-4 in the second half. Took that out. Theed, 12 goals on 15 shots. Put the ball on the back of the net if you're going to shoot that many times.
2 goals. 2 goals, not 12.
Yes, 2 goals on 15 shots.
There you go.
Should be 12 on 15 shots.
12 out of 15 would be amazing. What a game.
Doing pretty good. He'd be setting some records there, man. Stotts 1, 6, and 7. Albany falls to 1-3. This is the first time where I've actually been shocked by their loss. The first two have been overtime. This one actually is against a winless Halifax team. They got to figure it out. They're falling to 1-3, not good. Hill, again, struggled in this one, not good. Hutchison came in 12 for 12 saves. I think that's where you got to go. I think you got to lean on Hutchison moving forward. One... God, I am not sick anymore, but that hurt. 1-1 Ottawa is now 2-1 Ottawa, pushing Toronto to 0-4. Toronto wins 12-11. Ottawa final 4 goals in this one.
Ottawa wins.
Ottawa final 4 goals in 5:56 to win it. Dunbar once again 4-2-6. My prediction is looking real good over there. Teat 3-4-7. Higgins 42 of 53. Toronto just further and further in the dumps. Mark Matthews, man.
What a collapse.
You scored 1-5-6 though. That
Small,
trade is
still
looking
can't score.
That trade is looking worse and worse. The Zach Mann's one. Philly, first real legit win. Absolutely love it for them. They're 3-1 now, pushing Saskatchewan to 3-1. They win it in overtime. Saskatchewan scored the final 3 in the fourth to tie it, and then Katoni, 135 into overtime, cashes it in. Just an absolute... we have to start taking Philly a lot more seriously in this one. And I know I'm a little bit blurry. I'm sorry, YouTube. Saskatchewan struggled in this one. They didn't have Shanks. They didn't have Church. Keenan is still not scoring the ball. He's not providing very many points whatsoever. Triolo 4-1-5 though. I love the tall guys. Vancouver gets the must-win game that I mentioned about, 14-10. Calgary got it to 10-8 after the third, and then Vancouver kind of just took it over. They scored. They finally scored, so I absolutely love it. I like what Vancouver's doing finally, and Calgary was exposed. Their offense kind of quieted down. Dixon 4-2-6, but Dobie went quiet. King went quiet. He's not really scoring, and the pace 1-1-2. McLeod exposed. And then the final game Sunday, Georgia takes this one 13-12, remains the only other unbeaten team at 4-0. Georgia, 5 goals in the fourth. Q scores with 53 seconds left on the clock to take the victory. Phil, some good upsets in this one. I went 3-3 and 3-3 on the week. I think you went 1-5, 2-4, something like that. I pulled ahead in the NL picks.
Yeah, I went with the home team on all these close games, and the home team let me down in all the close games. I mean, that Colorado one, like you just mentioned, literally a minute away from overtime. You had the Vancouver-Calgary. I thought Vancouver was going to take that, but I gave it to Calgary as the home team, hoping that they would, especially Dixon and Dobie, I was hoping they would come through for their team, but they did not. Philly with the upset, that's, I think, a legitimate upset, especially in overtime. That was surprising. And then Toronto to just literally blow it. I mean, they had it. With 6 minutes left, they had the game. Ottawa had to storm back in order to win again by 1. So unfortunate for me, but I lost a lot of close ones. I think the Toronto one is there. A lot happened in the Bandits' favor, honestly. I mean, you wanted Saskatchewan to lose one. You wanted Albany to keep being buried. You want Toronto to keep being buried. But that Toronto one is shocking to me. I can't believe they keep losing like this. And then the Colorado one, again, I think is good in the long run. I mean, Georgia is a very scary team. I think they're arguably as legit, maybe not as legit, but they're up there with the Bandits right now. But knocking Colorado down 1, I know you want the undefeated team to have a loss, but I think Colorado also getting a loss is good. So both of those teams, either one with a loss would have been big, but pretty big week around the NLL, and the Bandits still looking good at the top.
Yeah, for those of you watching YouTube, I'm trying to get my camera back focused, man. It's just not working. I don't know what to do. My hand's focused right here. Look at this. It looks good, and it's blurry. I don't know what to do. But yeah, we will... Bandits going by, so we'll give another NLL outlook on the next show, but Bandits kind of go quiet for the next 2 shows. We'll try to figure out how to include them, but sitting 3-0, going to another bye, and then they have a few games and then another bye again. So 3 more games in their homestand. Toronto's on deck. Good luck to Toronto having to come to Banditland and face this juggernaut. Maybe they'll be a little bit healthier. But move on to the Bills here. Don't really have to talk much about them because they just beat up a toddler franchise 40-14. And the 14 points came when Tyrod Taylor came in. Allen, once again, not a great game, but pretty stinking good. 16 for 27, 182 and 2, 5 for 17 rushing with 1. Cook 15 for 53 with 1. Shavers, the one big catch from Trubisky, 1 for 69 and 1. Cooper 3 for 56 and 1. That catch was unbelievable in the end zone. Coleman 327 and 1. Another giant catch. He dropped a few, but this one he outjumped the defender and the defense. 4 sacks, 2 interceptions, all on Aaron Rodgers. He should be going off into the sunset, but he won't. He definitely won't. But Bills, yeah, they get the victory they needed. Josh Allen probably is going to start 1 or 2 series to keep his streak alive because they couldn't stop talking about that on the broadcast. But yeah, Bills, number 2 seed locked up. They can't get the number 1 seed. They can't get the number 3 seed. They're literally playing for nothing. Next week's versus New England. No idea what time, no idea what day yet. Way to go, NFL. Way to keep them waiting. But yeah, who cares? Game means literally nothing. Just don't get hurt. That's all I got to say. Even when Buffalo turned the ball over and they got the ball back and Allen went back out there, I'm like, what are you doing? Like, why is Allen still in the game? And then he threw the touchdown pass. Or no, I thought that was the one that Cook ran, and I was like, okay, at least they didn't try to do the tush push on that one. But yeah, man, get Allen out of the game, and he didn't play the whole fourth quarter. So Bandits, learn from that. Pull your stars when the game's out of hand.
At least occasionally.
Occasionally.
As far as this game, good to see some of the returning defensive players wrap back out there. Benford, Bernard, Milano. Good to see just more of a healthy defense. They still didn't look great. They let in a lot of yards, a lot of plays, had some fantastic turnovers, which were really, really helpful. But overall, I thought the defense looked good. Von Miller looked electric at times. I think he's going to be good for rotational pieces and depth down the line in playoffs when you need them for that, big third down, throw him out there, have his juice, his electricity, go get something. The offense looked okay, like you said, not really great. I mean, Trubisky leaves with a perfect QB rating, so congratulations to him, 158.3. 1 pass, 69 yards for a touchdown, doesn't get much better. Shavers, not going to make much of an impact probably the rest of the season, but it was actually a really good play. I mean, he had to fight through a lot of players to then finally use that speed to break out. If you have one shot to show what you got for this team, he did it. But the rest of the team, easy victory. What? Thank you, Eminem. Yeah, I mean, it was an easy victory. It was lifeless again as we kind of crawled to the end of the season. We knew these last 3 games were going to be relatively boring and not all that high intensity. And here we are. I mean, the only other notable thing from this one is that Rodgers was, the record for most amount of sacks in a single season. Congratulations to him. You did great.
And you kept him away from the number 500 touchdown pass too. So
that is good.
Needed one more.
Not on our watch. I don't know. Yeah, it was an okay game. Cooper's play and that catch, I think it does show what he can bring to this team when they do need to call on him. So I think even for his own confidence, it was big to get that kind of catch and play. Like, he's a player that's going to need to step up for playoffs. I think you're going to need, maybe not to lean on him, but for that kind of situation, if you need a big play, you're going to try to look to the veteran wide receiver who you brought in for those plays. And it was good to see him have it. And then Matt Collins just continues to very quietly be good.
In the role,
only 2 catches for 33 yards, but he's another one who can sneak. He's someone who on a big play, nobody's going to cover. And he's been making great plays, great catches, and he always seems to be out there. So he's their current secret weapon that keeps being their secret weapon every single week, and nobody cares to really cover or look for him. So he had, 3rd and very long, and he was wide open in the middle of the field. And it's those kind of plays that you're going to need in playoffs in order to go deep, is those players stepping up, and he's done a nice job. It's weird to be patting him on the back so much, but every time they've needed to call on him, he's played well. So overall, boring, kind of no-nothing game. Like you said, locked in the second. We'll see what happens next week as far as how long the starters stay in. Hopefully not long, and then you're just worried about who you're going to play.
Yeah, I guess I got 3 things. One, I fixed my blurriness. I am no longer blurry. Don't know how I did it, but if that ever happens again, I'll fix it. At least I'm still on the screen. We had an episode a couple ones ago that didn't work.
You're figuring it out.
Matt Collins is playing the role that Gabe Davis should have been playing in his entire Buffalo Bills career, and that's why he's excelling. That's why we're complimenting him. They're not asking him to do more than he's capable of doing like they were earlier in the season, and that's why they went out and got an Amari Cooper, and that's why they gave Keon Coleman some bigger roles, and that's why Shakir is playing the roles he is now. They're all playing the roles there should be, and that's why he's excelling. And then the last one, yes, these last 3 games have been and will be boring. We knew that going in, but the benefit, and that's all I'll say about this, is remember, years and years ago, we were hoping that these games would be boring because that meant they were in the playoffs. So I am accepting the fate of watching boring football, especially after watching 2 electric games against the Rams and the Detroit Lions. If we got those 2 games and then had to stomach these 2 gross games, and at least it wasn't as bad as New England last week where we were
they put points on the board this time.
This one was
and
what,
safety.
12 nothing at half. It was 7 nothing late into the second quarter, and I was literally not nervous once because I was not afraid of their quarterback and their defense stinks. It was a fun, boring game that I didn't really
Congrats
have to worry
on the
about
safety of Aaron Rodgers. Hilarious.
Yeah, this one was on in the background. Didn't really pay close attention. One, because football is dead to me because I lost all my games, and John won the championship. And whoopee, the league's going to burn. And
it's folding for sure.
Yeah, this game stinks anyway. So we'll move on to something that actually doesn't stink for once, but we're not going to give them too much attention. Sabres, 3-game winning streak now. They won both their games. Friday, 6-2 versus Chicago. Benson, Quins, Cousins, and then Tuck had his Hattie. UPL 15 of 17. Shots were 35-17 in favor of the Sabres. 0 for 1 on the power play. 2 wins in a row there. And then Sunday, they got their 3rd win in a row versus St. Louis. Krebs, Zucker, Tage, and Kulik. And Kulik's goal was filthy. They won this one 5-2, 35-37 for UPL and net, 37-16 for St. Louis in the shot department. 2 for 2 on the power play. Phil, they're sitting 3 wins in a row. Not going to give them too much credit because you just got off a 13-game losing streak. If you just didn't do that, we'd still be involved. But 3 in a row, man. Check some stuff off the bingo board.
I'll say it's the biggest thing for the bingo board. The cool thing about these 2 games were the goal scorers were different in both games, and which was nice to see. Like, this is the team that it's annoying because I don't like seeing it work because I still want better for this team. But this is the idea, I think, that is behind Adams and the organization and whatever they think they're trying to build, is that these players can all step up at certain times and put it all together, and that's going to be how we win games. Benson finally scoring, Quinn finally scoring, Cousins, Tuck, Krebs, Zucker, Tage, Kulik, like all these younger players with the veterans mixed in, everybody scoring. Like, this is their dream. I don't think it's going to sustain much longer. I mean, congrats on the 3, but we'll see. I mean, the second game against St. Louis, I mean, being outshot 37-16, that's not going to hold up most times to win. The other one, 35-17 in favor of the Sabres, that's more realistic of a game that you should win 6-2. The other one, not so much. But we'll see. I mean, congrats on your 3-game win streak after your 13. You just got to win 10 more in a row, and then you're back to 500 over the last, 26 games. So congratulations.
Yeah, I'm not going to talk much more about this team. Again, I said they have to go on some epic run for me to even consider buying back in. 3-game winning streak is nice, but they have not won 4 in a row in like 18 to 28 months, something like that. I saw the stat, and I can't remember what it exactly was. But, yeah, they haven't won 4 in a row in a very long time.
They probably won't.
Yeah, they probably won't. They got Dallas, I believe, Tuesday. I believe it's Tuesday. Yes, Tuesday versus Dallas. So we'll be able to talk about that one on the next show a little bit. This was the most positive stuff we've talked about the Sabres in a very long time, and it took a 3-game winning streak. It doesn't take a lot for us to talk nicely about you. Just don't go on a 13-game losing streak. Just win or look competitive. Like, make it fun.
Close losses, wins. Don't go on losing streaks of extreme proportions.
What's fun is you've won 3 in a row, and you're still dead last in your conference. That's why you can't go on long losing streaks, and that's why earlier in the season we were giving you such nice props because you weren't going on those long losing streaks. You were losing one and then ending that losing streak. The 13-game losing streak. I'm predicting this. I'm seeing it in my global ball right now, Phil. My magic future ball, whatever you call it. At the end of the season, they're going to miss the playoffs by like 6 or 8 points or something like that. They're going to be behind 5 or 6 teams, and all we're going to hear about is, well, if we didn't go through that 13-game losing streak, we'd be in the playoffs right now. Yeah, but every season you do this kind of stuff.
Exactly.
So
That's the problem.
I know it's going to happen. I'm fully expecting it. It's still going to annoy the heck out of me. But, hey, win the next 5, and we'll start talking about something and some kind of magic you're doing. But right now, 3-game winning streak, congrats, but it doesn't negate the 13-game losing streak you went on. So most positive we talked about the Sabres in a long time. Keep
bingo
winning.
board?
Bingo board, yep. I might have to rearrange these because this game might end very quickly. I checked off 3, and they were all in a row.
Oh my
team
gosh.
3-game point streak, 2 games in a row winning, and 30 shots on net, and then you had 35 shots on net and 3 games in a row. So might have to refinagle my board so this game lasts a little bit longer. But it's looking good because the 2, they need to be top 15 in goals for per game, and I think they're at like 18th right now. And 5 Sabres reached 10 goals, and they have 4 of the 5 so far. So
Jeez.
yeah, it's
real quick.
Yeah.
Quick bingo board.
Yeah, it might be a quick one. But Phil, is there anything else in this episode, because we're a little over an hour already, that you want to talk about before our next show coming out on Friday?
No. Bandits banner raising night was awesome. 19,000 fans was awesome.
Banner raising night?
PK's banner raising night was equally as good to the Buffalo Bandits.
It went about as high compared to what they did as well.
It did.
And you weren't sitting there, Phil, and I wish you were, but that banner got real close to starting on fire.
I told my brother that like 10 times. I was like, they gotta stop.
Close.
It's gonna be on fire real quick.
We were in line with it. Flame, the sparks were like that close to it. Like it was
looked like
drifting
it. Even from our
and
angle, I was
drifted
like, it's shifting. It's gonna catch on fire.
It was close.
They also probably could have ironed it before they.
I said the same thing. They haven't ironed any of them up there.
Real wrinkled.
I'll bring the iron. I'll bring the steamer. Like, make it look nicer.
We'll do it ourselves. It was not ironed, but that's the only other negative, I guess. The whole city being in purple and orange for the lights was nice. The mayor giving an official Bandits Day was kind of cool.
Love it.
I feel like I had something else with the Bandits, but that's it. We'll wrap it up. I'm good.
Yeah, the team and the sport is growing, especially here in Buffalo, and that's what happens when you win.
Oh, that's what it was. The playoff atmosphere, like Vince had mentioned, for Game 1 home opener was really, really cool to see. Like the sellout and how loud it was, how intense it was. It felt great, looked great. Like PK just said, keep it going. Don't go to the Sabres games. Go to the Bandits games. Have fun and watch a winning team.
Yeah, so on our next show, we'll give the NL outlook for the 3 games that are happening on New Year's weekend. Not much on tap in the NLL coming up this short weekend, but we'll dive into it. They got the Bills talk now that they wrapped up the number 2 seed. We'll have some questions about that. 1 Sabres game, and then we'll kind of talk about our New Year's resolutions, our personal ones, and the ones that we want to see for this company/show on the next episode that will be airing on Friday. But Phil's article is coming out on Tuesday. Our 3 NLL picks will be coming out on Wednesday. My power rankings will be coming out on Thursday. And then our new episode will be out on Friday. So we got you covered all week long. Hopefully you all have a fun and safe New Year's Day. Hopefully all your New Year's resolutions, whether you do them and vocalize them or do them internally, all come true in the new year. We got big plans for 2025, and we're excited to share them all with you on the next episode. So thank you all. I'm New Year's resolution, not blabber, see, like I just did there. We're going to end it here. Thank you all for listening to another episode of the Buffalo Sports Collective. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Threads, and TikTok at Buffalo Sports Collective, and on X and Blue Sky at Buffalo Sports Co. Visit our website at buffalosportscollective.com. That's where you can find Phil's article coming out on Tuesday and mine on Thursday. Check out our store on our link tree on our socials or at the shop tab at the top of the website. Follow our channel wherever you listen to podcasts, and make sure you leave us that review on Apple and Spotify. Until next time, bye-bye.